What is up, Sports Geeks? It's your host, Josh. You're back with another episode, and today we are talking about the East region, and I'm joined by, yet again, my college basketball guru, Nick. Nick, how you doing, man?
Doing great. We're getting into it Monday now. Tomorrow starts the official start of the tournament with the first four. So can't wait to break down the East and Midwest region today.
Yeah, the East is going to be a good one here. So let's go ahead and just a quick glance at this. We have Purdue, who wins the Big Ten, sweeps the Big Ten, just like Bama sweeps the SEC. Purdue sweeps the Big Ten, and it was close in the Big Ten final. They made it. I thought they were going to pull away with it.
Almost blew the game in the last minute and a half. It was insane. If you're a team that's going to play them, Texas Southern or Fairleigh Dickinson, you now know press because they struggle to handle the press.
Yeah, all year we've been talking about how some inexperienced guard play can make you extremely vulnerable as a team come March, and Purdue just showcased it perfectly and proved our point. I mean, it was very, very apparent that their guards were not able to handle pressure, and I don't think that Fletcher Lawyer is really good enough to handle pressure.
No, not at all.
And so Braden Smith is your only guard that can, and he's not big. So he is very susceptible to getting trapped. So if you trap him, obviously, with such a little guard, you're able to take away every single passing option. The Purdue is very susceptible to being an upset because of their inability to beat the press. But there's some good opportunities for upsets in this East region here. As we'll just work our way down here, we have Memphis FAU here. We have the winner of the AAC knocking off Houston in Memphis, taking on FAU, who has been spectacular all year.
Yeah, no, I love this matchup. Honestly, out of all the 8-9 matchups and probably most of the games on this board, Memphis versus FAU has to be my favorite. You have a Memphis team who's absolutely on fire. Yesterday, they just basically blew out Houston. So Houston got a few garbage time points. And then you got an FAU team who's 31-3, and most likely was going to be in this tournament, whether they won Conference USA Championship or not. I mean, both of these teams are fast-paced. They got incredible guards, and they love to score points. So I could definitely see one of these two teams, whoever moves on to play Purdue, knocking off Purdue.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could be looking at one of the best 12 seeds here in the tournament in Oral Roberts. It's a yes. If you watched the South region, I know I talked about the Oral Roberts. I talked about them a little bit in their run 2 years ago, and it's impossible to forget. Max Asmus is still there, and they are still spectacular. They can light it up from three, and obviously Max Asmus can. Their entire team can. And so this is a dangerous matchup for Duke to have in this first round.
Yeah, I definitely Oral Roberts is my favorite 12 seed or above in this whole tournament. It's a real shame that they got matched up with Duke. I was hoping they could have got matched up with anybody else. Like maybe they could have been the 5-12 matchup against St. Mary's, but instead they got paired with Duke. So it's going to be an interesting battle for them. But I think they'll be ready for the challenge, and I think they could still do it. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. There, Oral Roberts' guard play, I think, is more consistent than Duke's guard play. So that could be something that could be really, really interesting as we see this matchup. But this is going to be a great matchup. And if Oral Roberts is able to win this first game, they're taking on either a Tennessee team that is extremely limited, with obviously Zakai Ziegler going down. They're not trending upwards. They're trending downwards and quickly. Or a Louisiana team who is definitely not somebody to overlook if you're Tennessee in this first round.
Yeah. I want to circle back to Oral Roberts real quick. Completely forgot, but you can't forget they have former Arkansas big man who would come in and try to win the tip, Connor Vanover, who's 7'5", 235 pounds. So it's going to be a long day inside for Filipowski. So I don't know. That could be another big thing for Oral Roberts, is maybe they can just bully ball down low, because Vanover can not only dominate in the paint because he's 7'5", he can also step out and shoot threes. So that's going to be a really interesting matchup, I think, with that. But I agree with you. On to Tennessee, Louisiana. Tennessee is trending downward hard. And I know it's because of injuries, which sucks, but it's a part of the game. Injuries are a part of the game. You got a Louisiana team who won their conference tournament a week and a half ago, so they're well rested, and they're hungry. They're 26-7.
maybe too well rested, right? You haven't played a
Yeah,
game in a week and a half.
they
So
could.
this,
That's very, very true.
yeah. So you have Tennessee team that's trending downwards. You have a Louisiana team that hasn't, played in a week and a half. We could see the first 4 minutes of this game have a total of like 4 points
Oh yeah, no,
because both
this
teams
game could
could
be
start off really slow.
this game could be extremely ugly. But looking at this region, because I love to call this region, the region of upsets. There's just so many different opportunities for upsets here, and I honestly think Louisiana gets the job done here. I really do. I
So
think they.
do you think we see a Louisiana Oral Roberts second round, or do you think Duke gets a job
I
done
think
against Oral
it's.
Roberts?
I think it's definitely possible to see a Louisiana Oral Roberts. I think Louisiana's going to get there no matter what. I really do. I don't know. I just don't think Tennessee's good enough. I don't think their defense is going to be good enough to hold Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
But Oral Roberts and Duke, that's an interesting matchup. That's probably my favorite one to watch on Thursday. I actually can't wait to watch that because Duke has Jeremy Roach and Tyrese Proctor, who are fantastic guards that have been playing well all year, but they have to go up against Max Abmas. Like
Yeah.
someone's going to give.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see, but I don't know. I want Oral Roberts to win, but I think Duke's going to end up pulling it out here in a close one. So I guess if you are a betting man, probably take Oral Roberts spread because it's going to be a close game, but I think Duke comes out with the game.
Yeah, I know it's kind of nice now that when we're recording this, I don't think they were out last night, but they're out now. The lines for betting, which we're not giving betting advice at all.
No.
I don't want people to interpret this the wrong way.
Not a betting show.
But absolutely not. But it can tell a story because Vegas always knows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I believe that this Oral Roberts line, I can double check really quick. I believe it is like 5.5.
Yeah, it's something right around there, which that says something.
6.5 right now, which is just crazy. You're looking at, one of the hottest teams coming in at the 5 seed, and they're still not even, 3 possession favorites. So
which I think is an absolute just crazy, crazy thing that Duke stayed a 5 seed after winning the ACC tournament. I had them as a 4, possibly a 3.
I could see this bracket right here be just flipping Duke and Tennessee. I mean, keep it in the East, just flip them because Tennessee, I mean, I understand that their record might be what a 4 seed should be, but they are not playing where a 4 seed should be right now. And the same thing with Duke at the 5 seed. Duke might be playing, or their record might say that they should be a 5 seed, but the way they're playing as of late, they should not be a 5 seed. But either way, both teams are in a very tough matchup in the first round to be at a 4 or 5 seed here. And we definitely could see a double-digit seed getting their bid into the Sweet 16 here in that little quad of games there.
No doubt.
However, we'll move on down to Kentucky Providence and Kansas State Montana State. Looking at this Kansas State Montana State game, I don't think Montana State has it in them. I think Kansas State has too many scorers that are available for Montana State to really be able to hang. However, Kentucky Providence is going to be a doozy of a game, I think.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for this Kentucky Providence game. There's a lot of rich history here within these two programs with Bryce Hopkins being a former Kentucky basketball player who didn't play at all under Calipari at Kentucky, so he transferred to Providence, which was the final 2 schools that he was going to choose between coming out of high school. And I think this is almost a revenge spot. Kentucky's they've been struggling this year. I mean, they made the tournament as a 6, but they struggled this year a lot. They went through a lot of adversity trying to figure out who they were as a basketball team. And I think Bryce Hopkins going to be like, look, Calipari, this is what you lost, and this is what you could have had on your team. And I'm personally just going to play blue ball and show you what you're missing out on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of that revenge factor there. And I do think this is going to be an interesting matchup. I think Kansas State and against either of these teams in the following round is going to be a great matchup too. I think we're looking at 2 coin flips here. I will say that, I just went and checked. Kansas State's only 8.5 point favorites over Montana State. So that's definitely that's a short line.
That's a surprising one too. It really is.
For a 3 against a 14. So, I mean, maybe they know something we don't know about some injury news, or maybe we're just not as good at analyzing college basketball as we think.
Yeah, because I watched Montana State's. It was like Thursday night, their championship game. They're not a team that shoots the 3 ball at all. They're a team that they're gonna throw it down low. They're just gonna play back to the basket, and they're gonna try to score down low or score from the free throw line. Because I want to say they only took 3 3-pointers, or they made 3 threes, but only took I want to say 8.
Really?
Something crazy like that. They don't shoot the 3 at all. Like they will only shoot it if they are wide open.
That's an old school coach. That's an old school coach right there.
Their best players, Battle. He's really good, really athletic. He's going to try to get you downhill, and he's going to try to score on a layup or a little pull-up jumper. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's going to be interesting to see because Kansas State is such a defensive-minded team. Like, their defense is suffocating at times. But I think Kansas State gets a win because they're just so much more dominant.
I think when you play a suffocating defense like Kansas State as well, or even like an A&M, when you play a super suffocating defense, it is really difficult to play when you are unable to stretch them.
Yeah.
So if they only have to defend
inside the 3,
18 feet instead of 21 feet, then you're allowing a team to really get up in your grill and take away another aspect of like having to worry about it. I don't know. That's just going to be something that Kansas State is probably going to be able to manhandle Montana State on defense.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
But either way, I think between Kentucky Providence, and then Kansas State, we're going to get 2 really good games there in the first and second round.
Yeah,
100%. Excuse me. So we will go ahead and go down to my Spartans. So I will be,
baby.
I will be at this pair of games on Friday.
In fact, be here screaming and possibly losing his mind if Boogie Ellis decides to drop 35 on his head.
Well, I'm just waiting for Drew Peterson to shoot 90% from 3. He'll be 18 of 20 from 3.
This would be the game. This would be the game he'd do that just because we've been saying how disappointing he's been all
year. Yep, I should have held my words until I saw who Sparty's played here. But I do think this is going to be a good game. I think Michigan State's 2.5 point favorites. It's going to be a close game. Yeah. And I'm stoked to be there. But I do think that Boogie Ellis is the one bright side for this USC team. Unfortunately for USC, Michigan State guard play absolutely cancels that out.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great matchup between Boogie Ellis and what's his name?
Probably Hogard.
Tyson
Walker.
Tyson Walker. That's going to be a great matchup. I think Hogard's going to be able to lock down Peterson, and then you can throw whoever you want on Keon Johnson. I mean, there's really no post presence for USC. They're tall, they're long, but they're not athletic. They're young, so they don't really have any touch to them. So personally, for me, I think if Michigan State plays a good defensive ball game and can get back to making the threes they've been making, I see no problem with them advancing in this at all.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think Michigan State's going to get upset here either.
But it helps too that you're close.
Yes,
Michigan State is so much more closer than USC is, so it'll be a pretty lopsided crowd.
Yeah. I will be one of the members in that lopsided crowd, but I will also be there for that Marquette Vermont game too in Columbus, Ohio. As Marquette takes on Vermont, I would expect Marquette to kind of run away with this. Obviously, I'll be there hoping they don't. But I would expect them to. And if they were to,
Catamounts going to win here, but I doubt
it. If they were to pull away with this Marquette and Michigan State, we would see a Joey Hauser against his old school reunion in that second round, and that could be something interesting as well. I know we talked about the Kentucky. I know we talked about earlier with the little revenge factor. We get that again here in this East region, and I'm not going to lie, as a fan of Michigan State, Marquette is probably my favorite 2 seed to have to play. They didn't play an extremely tough schedule. The Big East had a down year, and they really didn't play Big Ten teams. They played Wisconsin earlier in the year and lost.
Yes, they lost.
So they have not done well against their, very limited, sample size of Big Ten teams. And that's just they just play a different style, Big Ten teams. It's just a very different style. And typically
slow defensive style compared to the Big East where, you saw against X, they're speeding it up and down the floor, shooting threes.
Right, just light it up from 3. Which Michigan State definitely can do as well. But I think this is going to be a really, really good game. I know I'm looking at this, these 2 seeds, Texas and UCLA are 2 really, really, really good 2 seeds. Arizona's a solid one as well.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
probably
if
would
you
have
think about
preferred
it,
Arizona.
I don't know who I'd want to play if I was you out of the two seeds. I think I would either want Marquette or maybe UCLA just because UCLA's been battling injuries.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't want to see Texas because they're trending up. I wouldn't want to see Arizona because they're just huge. They would.
yeah.
I think they'd be too big for Michigan State.
I think Tubelis would give us hell.
Yeah, I just don't see how Hauser could guard him or
Now,
Sissoko.
now, now, I think Tyson Walker and Hogard would just tear through Kirk Risa.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%.
But that's something that if we have to worry about that, I'm going to
In
be
the final,
stoked because that means we're in the Final Four.
yeah,
So,
yep,
but I do think that this bracket here, so we start, like we did for the South region, which if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go check that out. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I see that there's like 35% of you guys aren't subscribed. So go hit subscribe. It's completely free. But here we are. I think Purdue moves on comfortably, obviously. I think that Memphis handles FAU here, but I think this is a coin flip game.
yeah. I think it really is going to come down to what Kendrick Davis can do and if he can stay out of foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it showed yesterday against Houston. He put up 20 in the first half. But when they had to take him out, like I want to say 5 minutes in the second half, that's when Houston went on their run. They went on like a little 13-0 run, brought the game back to 5. And then they had to put Kendrick Davis back in, and then he went back to work. And I want to say he finished with like 32 points, and they won pretty comfortably. So I feel like it's kind of down to what can Kendrick Davis do? Can he keep himself on the floor? And what can DeAndre Williams also give you as well, playing the stretch floor?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting matchup, though. Again, like I said, coin flip. I do think that either team, whichever team wins this, I think that Purdue beats. I think Purdue has the ability to kind of limit that guard play just on the defensive end. And I don't think that Memphis and FAU really speed up their opponents enough that they would be able to take down Purdue or handle Edey at all.
Yeah, the way I look at it is basically for Memphis and Florida Atlantic, I think this game is going to be whoever gets to 81st wins. I really do. And I think Memphis will be able to win that. My only problem with Purdue in the second round, which I'm going to say is against Memphis, is can Braden Smith guard Kendrick Davis? I don't think he can. I really don't think he can, but I agree. If they're able to get it down to Zach Edey in the post, I don't think Dandridge can guard him because he's kind of they're both slower guys, but I just don't think Dandridge can guard him because he's a bit of an undersized center. I want to say 6'9", 6'10".
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's going to come down to Memphis's guards with Alex Lomax and Kendrick Davis. Can they score? And can they handle these freshman guards? And I think if they can, this is going to be a really close game like it was last year with Memphis and Gonzaga. But I think this year that Memphis could actually pull out a W. I really do.
Now, I will say that Purdue just did really well against Jalen Pickett, who is a significantly bigger guard than Kendrick Davis, right? And a different play style. But when you have an offense that really revolves around one player, like that Memphis offense does around Kendrick Davis, Purdue was able to game plan around that. And we also saw how much Edey had a factor of that. Just being there, just his presence in the paint really takes away that aspect of trying to finish around the rim because of how long he is, because how big he is. So that could be something too to monitor that, if Braden Smith is just trying to run Kendrick Davis off the 3-point line and not let him shoot a pull-up jumper then too, now that's something different because if you're saying go ahead, I dare you to take a layup, then that's a lot easier to do defensively. But either way, if there is a 1 seed that's going to lose in the second round, it's going to be Purdue.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Purdue. I think if you look at all the other 1 seed matchups, which we'll get into, I think Purdue is the only one that's susceptible to getting handed a loss here.
Yep, I completely agree. Now, we did talk about this one earlier. I am right there with you with Louisiana and Tennessee. I think Louisiana comes out on top here, and I do think that Duke is able to pull it out. Oral Roberts,
I think Duke pulls out a close one in the end.
It's going to be really close, though, and I think this one could be a coin flip as well.
Yeah, so we're looking at Duke versus Louisiana in the second round.
Yes, we are, and I think Duke comes away pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think Duke comes away. I agree.
So then we would have a Duke, Purdue, probably Sweet 16, maybe a Duke, Memphis / FAU. But I think in this game, I think Duke wins this game.
Yeah, I think this is where either Purdue and or Memphis / Florida Atlantic goes down.
Mm-hmm. I think that Roach is able to get the better of Smith and Lawyer, and it's going to be pretty clear too. Like, I
I think
think
it's
this
going to
is,
be kind of a dominant fashion.
yeah. So,
Much
and
as
I
I
do
hate
think
to
that,
say.
yeah, I do think that Filipkowski can pretty much limit Edie, not stop him, but limit, contain
Yeah,
Edie
because
to
I
maybe
mean,
20.
Filipowski's a true 7-footer. Like,
Mhm.
that's going to be a hell of a matchup. This isn't going to be where Edie. I mean, Edie's still going to be able to battle him down low and try to be dominant, but when you got a legit 7-footer coming at you, who's probably got the pretty long and wide wingspan. It's going to be a challenge. You're not just going to be sitting here getting like you were yesterday against Penn State, just coming down with it easy and just dumping it over. You're not going to be able to do that against Duke because Duke is they're not an offensive team like they've been in the past. They're a defensive minded team this year. And most people didn't think it was going to work. You're like, well, you don't see Duke. You think of Duke. You don't think, oh, defense, defense, defense. Well, they're 26-8. They're playing their best basketball right now. They just went toe to toe with one of the better defensive teams in the country in Virginia, and they still won by 10 in the
Yep.
ugliest fashion they could. So, no, I agree with you. I think Duke gets this win over whoever it's going to be, most likely Purdue, but I think they win that and they get themselves to the Elite Eight.
So I don't want to play devil's advocate here, but I'm going to. If Duke were to go down in the first round to Oral Roberts, could we see Oral Roberts getting to the Elite Eight in this bracket?
Yeah, I really think they could actually. Because you got to look at it. You look at them because if they would win against Duke, I think they could easily beat Tennessee or Louisiana, and then you're like you said, you're going to get to a Purdue. And guess
in
what?
which A. Smith would tear.
A. Smith would embarrass Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, and then you look down low. They got the bigger guy.
Yeah.
Zach Edey may weigh a little bit more, but Vanover's an inch and a half taller than him.
Yeah, that is the only player in this tournament that Purdue's best advantage is completely eliminated.
Just neutralized, eliminated. I would love, and I mean love, to see that matchup.
I would too. I think if we do see an Oral Roberts Purdue matchup, Purdue could be like, 3-point favorites in that game. I mean, that could be an extremely tight line just because of how well Oral Roberts matches up against Purdue here. But I do think Duke gets it done against Oral Roberts in the first round. But again, this is a really, really good opportunity for an upset. And if Oral Roberts is able to get it done, we could see, we look at the different upsets that could happen throughout this bracket.
I think that's going to be one that's circled by a lot of people.
Right. You think maybe Charleston can, right? In the South region, and maybe some other ones throughout this as well. Oral Roberts is the best road as a double digit seed to the Elite Eight out of maybe anybody.
I wouldn't be scared if I was Duke or anyone else who sees that name Oral Roberts lined up across from me, because you got all eyes on you, and that's just a really scary team. It's scary. I would not want to play Oral Roberts.
I also, the second Oral Roberts beats Duke, if they were to do that, every single team is going to be scared to see them because of that underdog mentality and how good they are at playing that type of basketball. We saw it 2 years ago. And as soon as they thought they had a chance with Ohio State, it was like, oh boy, here we go. Ohio State couldn't do anything. And I even like when they were lost in the Sweet 16, Arkansas escaped with a victory.
Oh yeah, barely got away with one. Like, Oral Roberts had every opportunity to win that game.
Yep.
Every opportunity.
Absolutely. So we have Duke in the Elite Eight here coming from that upper section. So Kentucky Providence, I do think Kentucky is able to come out on top in this game. I think Kansas State then comes out on top, and I think that we do see a phenomenal matchup. But I'm going to take Kentucky to move on into this Sweet 16.
Really?
I think Kansas State's good. I think Kentucky's good. They both have very good stars, right?
Yeah.
But I think that Shibwe and Kentucky they're really trending upwards right now. They're peaking at the right time. Their coach has been there before 100 million times. He's won national championships. He's made tournament runs over and over again. I think he knows what it takes to get it done here. And I do think that Kentucky could come out on top here.
Yeah, no, when I look at this, I agree with you. I think for Providence, it's literally going to have to be Providence hits 12 threes, and that's how they win the game. That's the only way they win this game against Kentucky. But I agree with you. I'll take Kentucky to advance in the first one. But when it comes to playing Kansas State, I don't know. This is going to be a really good matchup, obviously. It's really going to come down to how can Kansas State guard in the post.
Mm-hmm.
can they guard like Vanderbilt did? Can they hit shots like Vanderbilt did against Kentucky? And I feel like if they can, I think they can escape. But we haven't seen Kansas State play in so long. Like, they haven't played since they played against TCU, and TCU kind of ran them out the gym. So I don't know if that adds a whole other factor to them when they get to this game against Kentucky. Like, look, we got another opportunity to knock off another really good team. The last time we played a really good team, we got waxed. Can they come out and put something behind it and get a win? I don't know. It's going to be really, really interesting. I actually can't wait to watch that game.
It also could be, too, if Kansas State rolls Montana State in their first game. You're coming off a tough loss. You roll a team, and you really haven't even settled into the tournament yet, right? You haven't had to deal with adversity. You haven't had to sit there like, is our season done, and rally your troops, right? Whereas Kentucky in that Providence game at some point is going to have to do that. You're right. Kentucky's not going to come out and win this game from minute 1 to minute 40, right?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
But so I think that Kentucky might have a little bit of that advantage. They definitely have the coaching advantage, in my opinion, as well there. But it's going to be
coaches. Like Kentucky has Calipari, who's leaps and bounds better than Ed Cooley. No disrespect to Ed Cooley.
No, Calipari is just one of the greatest of all time. Izzo, though, the greatest of all time, is playing in this one as well.
25th straight NCAA tournament.
Yep, record setter, which is just awesome. But last thing I want to say about this upper section there was that Kentucky, if they were to lose to Providence, which is definitely not out of the question, I think Kansas State moves on comfortably beyond Providence.
Yeah, no, I think they would handle Providence easily.
So Michigan State, USC. I know we talked about this earlier. I think Michigan State is playing Marquette in the next round. Obviously, I believe you're on the same page there, correct?
Yeah, I think Michigan State gets the job done. The only way they wouldn't is if you just can't guard Boogie Ellis or Keon Johnson and they go off for a combined like 50 points, then I think you're in trouble. But I don't see that. I don't see you guys having a problem with that.
I would agree with that. So then we have a Michigan State Marquette, and then Kentucky Kansas State second round here. Do you think Marquette Michigan State? How do you see this matchup going here?
This is going to be a really, really interesting matchup because on one side you have a team that's not really big on the defense. They'll play the defense, but they're not huge on it. They like to get up and down the floor, which is Marquette, and they love to shoot the three too, and they can hit it when they need to. They got Tyler Kolek, who I honestly think is the best point guard in all of college basketball. The dude can facilitate the ball like crazy, and he can get a bucket whenever he needs to. I hate to do this to you and your Spartans, but I think this might be the end of the road for them here. I don't know. I think Marquette just has too many weapons, and they're just – I don't know. It's crazy because you can't – I mean, they've been trending up the whole year, so we don't know when they're going to hit their peak and start coming down. It very well could be in this second-round game. But I just think Shaka Smart has the boys playing great basketball right now, and he's doing a fantastic job of keeping them fired up to keep going up that mountain instead of hitting the peak and coming down.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a team that's peaking at the correct time if they haven't peaked yet. We really don't know if they have yet or not. It is an extended win streak right now, almost too extended, right? How long? You can only go so long.
Last time they lost.
Right, you can only go so long with a win streak, right? Obviously, and so if you're at like the 6 to 8 range, that's a good range to be at. I think they're almost at like the 15 range now.
Yeah, they haven't lost in a while.
Which is a dangerous, you're starting to get up there of you've won a lot of games, but I'm not taking anything away from Marquette here. I think Marquette, realistically, if I'm being as real as possible, Marquette probably beats Michigan State in this game. Michigan State's going to have to shoot lights out from 3, which isn't out of the question.
No, not out of the question.
But I will go with Marquette here as well. I'm not gonna be a homer. As much as I think, and Michigan State absolutely could win this game, though. I don't want to say that this is a comfortable win for a 2 seed. I think Michigan State could very, very easily upset Marquette.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. They can definitely play. If Michigan State can get the game to play in their favor and play their way of basketball, I don't think this game's gonna be as lopsided as people think. I think Michigan State can keep this within a 5-point game and get those stops down the stretch where they actually get the win. But I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that. So I think I'm going to go with Marquette. And back to the point you said, the last time they lost was Tuesday Tuesday, February 7th.
Oh boy.
So well over a month.
Yep.
Well over a month.
So we're looking at Marquette in the Sweet 16 here. I know we had a little bit of a disagreement with Kentucky or Kansas State getting in. I think Marquette, if they were to get to the Sweet 16, I think they clear whoever comes out of that game there, and I think we're going to see a Duke Marquette Final Four here.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I don't see in that top little region at the bottom, I don't see Kentucky, Providence, Kansas State being able to knock off Marquette. I just don't see it. They don't have the dogs to win this battle. And I mean, you could say, oh well, Kentucky could just go on a magical run and just dominate down low with Oscar Tshiebwe, but that style of play does not usually work in the tournament. You can't just back a team down and hope to only score, 62 and win a game. That does not usually happen. These games are usually fast-paced, higher tempo scoring, and I think you got to have really good guards, and Kentucky kind of lacks that at times.
Yeah, they're just inconsistent guards. But, coming out of this Elite Eight game here, we have a Duke in our prediction. We have a Marquette in our prediction here. Who do you think comes out of that game? And it will be a phenomenal game.
I don't know. This is an interesting one to me because you look at both teams, and they're obviously, like we said, they're both trending in the correct direction. They're both playing on fire, have really good guards, both really experienced guards too. I think I'm going to go with Marquette. I think this might be Marquette's year. I think they win this game against Duke. They make it to the Final Four. I think Tyler Kolek and Proctor are going to be really big for them. I think they'll be able to hold off Duke with Jeremy Roach and Filipowski, and I think they'll be able to get the win here and advance to the Final Four.
So I agree with you. I think Marquette's able to come away with this victory here. If you were to simulate that Final Four game where we both picked Alabama
versus Marquette, right?
Who do you think? Yes, sir. Who do you think comes out on top in that game and represents this left side of the bracket in the national championship?
This is an interesting one for me. It really is, because you look at both teams and they're both offensive-minded teams, but they both play really good defense, which is hilarious because they're both. You look at both Marquette and Alabama, and it's like, wow, they're offense. And you look at both of them, it's like, wow, they're top two in their respective conferences in defense. But I think it's really going to come down to, can Bama shoot the three? Are they going to be able to knock in 10 threes, 11 threes, or are they going to make two and go 2 of 20? Because I think that's been the real big thing with Alabama is like, look, they live and die by the three, and Nate Oates isn't going to tell them to stop shooting it.
No, and here's my issue here with this game, though, for Marquette, is they are a team that wants to speed it up, and if they're going to lack on the one side of the ball, it's going to be defense.
Yeah.
And when you give a team like Bama, who is bound to shoot threes well at some point, right?
Yeah, some point in the game, they're going to string together some makes.
And if you give them open threes, they're not going to miss.
Yeah.
Like, if you give Alabama open threes in transition, if you are continue to be lackadaisical on the defensive side of the ball and allow Brandon Miller and JQ Javon Quinterly to heat up, that's the dangerous duo to let heat up. Probably, looking at this field, maybe the most dangerous duo. And I don't mean that in any joking manner at all, even though you could interpret it that way if you want. But in all honesty, these guys are actually lights out. And if you let them get going, it's dangerous.
No, I 100% agree. And then you can also throw into the mix the third one in that trio with Sears. And when he shoots it well, it's really dangerous. But he's been struggling as of late. I remember watching the last two games in the SEC tournament. I want to say against Missouri, him and Javon Quinterly shot like a combined 2 of 13, 2 of 15. And, Sears, he's not scared to jack it. He'll just keep shooting it. He'll keep shooting, and he's not even close. And I think that could be a problem that Nate Oates probably needs to assess. Like, look, if you're going to get to a point where you're 0 of 9, 0 of 10, look to start crashing, start getting downhill, and facilitate the ball to a guy like Brandon Miller or a guy like Javon Quinterly who can shoot the outside shot. I think that's going to be a big thing with them is like, can they facilitate the ball better than Marquette here? Because Marquette with Tyler Kolek can definitely do that. But I agree with you. I think, Brandon Miller, who, in my opinion, one of the best players in the country, may not may even be the best behind Zach Edey. I think he could go off for 30 and 15 in this game.
Absolutely. And now so in the Missouri game, to back you up with some guaranteed facts here. So the Sears and Quinterly combined were 2 of 19 from the floor and 1 of 13 from three. Now, luckily, Miller was 8 for 11 from the floor, 3 of 6 from three, and put up 20, 12, and 4.
Yeah.
So he saved them a little bit there. And then obviously Miller did not shoot that well against A&M, but Quinterly did. 8 of 14 from the floor, 4 of 8 from three. Sears had another bad day, 1 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 5 from three. But, that's the dangerous part with that team is when you have Sears, Quinterly, and Miller, 3 guys that can all just light it up. One of them, the likelihood of all 3 of them not hitting, especially when you play defense that tends to be occasionally lazy at times, like Marquette does. The likelihood of one of those 3 guys not just lighting it up is not very high.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. There's no way all 3 of them aren't going to be able to score. I mean, if you look at it, Brandon Miller is definitely getting at least 15. He always does. He's consistent on, even when he has a bad day, he's still putting up 12 to 15 points. And I agree with you. I think that's going to be too big of a problem for Marquette is the fact that Alabama just has, for lack of a better word, too many weapons, some would say. Sorry, I couldn't find it.
He had to. So I will say here, so I think if kind of closing comments here, looking at this East region, if we are going to see a 1 seed go out in the second round in any region, it will be this region.
Yeah.
And I think if we see a double-digit Elite 8 matchup between 2 double-digit seeds, I think it's this region as well.
Yep.
I think Oral Roberts and Louisiana are 2 phenomenal shouts for the value, right? For how, obviously it's not expected. I don't expect that. I mean, we chose Duke to beat Oral Roberts in the first round, but if Oral Roberts is able to win, we talked about that. They could really be looking
very well be at the Elite 8. Yeah.
And then obviously, you have Providence, who's a decent shout for a double digit here as well.
Yeah. No, you look at them as an 11 seed. It's kind of surprising considering they were a top 15 team about halfway through the year, but they've just been trending down hard. So can Ed Cooley rally his guys and get them back to going in the right direction? We'll see. We'll see here on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be awesome bracket to watch, though. I will say we have the Midwest being recorded. I mean, moments after this one ends, we have the West going to be recorded either later tonight or early tomorrow morning to get that one out. So we will have all 4 episodes posted pretty much before like Tuesday around like 3 p.m. will be our cutoff pretty much. So everything will be out. There'll be a full pretty much 48 hours of them being out before games start. But this is just the best time of the year. Any closing comments before we wrap this up?
No, really, like you said, I think you covered it all. Look out in the East region. There could definitely be a double-digit seed or a high 1-digit seed making it to the Elite 8, possibly the Final Four. It really is a really good chance, and enjoy this time.
You're saying the East region is the perfect. You're saying there could be say a 7 seed making it to the Final Four out of this East region.
Yeah, no, there really could be. It really, really could be, and that 7 seed could possibly be Michigan State. It really could be. But no, enjoy this time. This is the best week of the year. You literally get basketball Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's all March Madness. It's not you get these conference games, which aren't nearly as fun to watch, but they're still great to watch. But this is the March Madness tournament. Enjoy it.
Conference tournaments are a perfect build up. You go from regular season. I don't know if you can see my hand or not.
Yeah.
Regular season basketball, conference tournament basketball, and then it's March Madness is way up there.
Yeah,
but
just up there. It's just a whole different aspect of college basketball.
Absolutely. But this has been the Sports Geeks podcast. They play, we talk. Thanks for watching, guys.